Hi first years, this is your 6th lesson on decimals and today we're going to focus on adding and subtracting with negative numbers. So in our first example, we are going to complete this calculation using a number line, just to get your head around how these can be useful to help your understanding. So if we were to plot negative 5.2 on the number line, I'm going to put that towards the left-hand side here. Let's place negative 5 here, then negative 6, and let's just fill in this up to 0. Okay, so negative 5.2 would be here. And if we've to add on 3.6, I'm going to first jump one whole number at a time. So from negative 5.2 plus 1, that would get me to negative 4.2. If I add on another 1, it would get me to negative 3.2. Add on another 1, and I get to negative 2.2. And now I have to add on 0.6, 6/10. So that's just 6 of the smaller increments here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to figure out what this value is. So let's have another look at the number line. It's in between negative 1 and negative 2. And we know that this taller line here is negative 1.5. So 1 less than that would be negative 1.6. Okay, so that's your final answer, negative 1.6. Negative sign there. And you can put the negatives in brackets if you want to. In the second example, we're going to use the column method now to complete this calculation. But we're going to read the question first and think about how we can approach this. So we've got 1.95 subtract negative 3.1. Now, if you are taking out ice cubes, the temperature would go up. So these two negatives here are going to change into a positive. And I think the ice cube analogy is quite a nice one to help you understand why if you're taking out 2 ice cubes, this changes to a plus. The temperature will rise. So anyway, this calculation is now slightly easier. We can complete this by doing 3.10 plus 1.95 at the side here. Okay, so 0 plus 5 is 5, 9 plus 1 is 10, 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So our final answer is 5.05. In the second example here, we have negative 3.5 plus negative 4.02. So because we're adding in ice cubes, that's going to make the temperature drop. So this calculation is going to change to negative 3.5 subtract 4.02. This negative is going to override this positive here. If you're adding a negative, it's the same as just subtracting there. Okay, let me just tidy this up a little bit. Okay, so negative 3.5 subtract 4.02. Now, if you think about your number line here, if you did negative 3 and you take away 4, you would get to negative 7. So I know my answer is going to have a negative here, but I do have some more values here. I've got 5/10 and 200ths as well. So if I was going to use a column method, what I would actually do is just 3.5 and I would add 4.02. I'm going to add in a 0 here. So 2 plus 0 is 2, 5 plus 0 is 5, 3 plus 4 is 7. But as we were discussing there, it's a negative take away 4. So negative 3 take away 4 gets even more negative. So the answer is negative 7.52. And we've used a column method here to add these numbers just to make sure we're getting our number work correct. Okay. In the next example, we have negative 93.5 subtract negative 32.9. So this time we're going to change the question. I've got negative 93.5, but again, I'm taking out ice cubes, so that changes into a plus. So I've got add 32.9 here. So if I do this calculation at the side, now bear in mind this is slightly different because I've got negative 93.5, and if you think of that as just negative 90, for example, and if you're adding on 30, that is going to get closer to 0. So it's not going to be as negative anymore. Negative 90 plus 30 would be negative 60. Okay, let's work out exactly what the answer is by changing the calculation slightly for our working. I'm going to change the calculation to 93.5, take away 32.9. So 5 subtract 9. Can't do that, so we borrow from the 3. 15 subtract 9 is 6. 2 subtract 2 is 0, and 9 subtract 3 is 6. Now, as we were discussing, negative 93.5 plus 32.9 is going to get you a negative still, because we were approaching 0, we were moving towards the right of the number line, but it is still a negative answer. So if you are showing extra working at the side and doing a column method type sum here, then just make sure you put in your negative in your answer as well. So it's negative 60.6 for your final answer. So you only have one page from the booklet to attempt today, that's page 22 only. So can you please make sure you take your time, show all of your working. You can use number lines or the column method to help you. With some of them in the beginning, you'll probably be able to do them in your head, but I would still like you to write out the question, show working if you need to, and then the answer, please. If you need any help, just ask. Enjoy!